current interview process in many ways screens great candidates out. I was partnered up with a very senior dev. He said, Irina, I've been doing software development before you were born. Around 1989, my family decided to immigrate from Ukraine, and I had first job as a dishwasher when I was 9 years old. Sitting on the side of the road with my parents selling Russian souvenirs, and the conditions were really poor, so I got lice and I couldn't go to school.
Hello everyone, welcome to Curious Souls. My name is Ankita Mishra. I'm a senior product manager at Microsoft. This is the place where you get inspired and learn about various topics, be it product management, lifestyle, fitness, and much more. Today I have with me my wonderful co-host Rishabh Jolly.
Hey everyone, I'm Rishabh. I'm a senior PM at Microsoft, and today we have a wonderful guest. I'm super excited to have her. Irina, she's a seasoned leader at Microsoft. She's been at Microsoft for more than 20 years, and she is empathetic, authentic, visionary, and a truly fun leader to work with. I've had the pleasure of working with her in my first gig at Microsoft. She was my engineering peer, engineering leader, and I learned from her so much, like how to build products which customers love, how to build products which scale, and like while doing all the product stuff, how do you also have fun, as a team? So I'm super excited to have her here today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for such an introduction. I'm like blown away, and thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so first question, Irina.
Yeah.
I think the audience would love to know who Irina is, what are her passions, and how did your journey start at Microsoft or in software development?
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back a little bit to my childhood because this is where my journey started. And I was born in Ukraine in a town called Vinnytsia. And I was primarily raised by my grandparents because my parents were really busy working. And my grandmother had this book of logic problems. I still have this book. It's like almost 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And she used to do these logic problems with me, and like I loved them. It was problem solving. It was solving hard problems and just really thinking. And at the end of around 1989, my family decided to immigrate from Ukraine. It was after Chernobyl. There was a lot of anti-Semitism. And it was really, really hard time. We were basically refugees. And, I'll share my story with you guys, but one of the things I want to call out is it's the hard moments that shaped my life. It's the hard moments that made me stronger, and those moments made me who I am.
Absolutely.
And my parents and grandparents, they left everything behind. I was the only grandchild. And we were refugees. We went through Vienna, and I had my first job as a dishwasher when I was 9 years old. And then we went to Italy, where I had really beautiful long hair, and the conditions were really poor, so I got lice and I couldn't go to school, and they had to chop my head off. And I spent that year sitting on the side of the road with my parents selling Russian souvenirs, like the little matryoshkas. Every time I could sell the little matryoshka, I could go and buy myself a Mickey Mouse ice cream with little gumballs for its eyes. And, that time was extremely, extremely hard. My grandmother got sick. And when we came to America, my parents and my grandparents told me, Irina, we did this because of you.
Yeah.
We did this to give you a better future. And I'm just so sad because it's been 1 year anniversary since the war with Ukraine. And my heart goes out to all the people there. I think about them all the time, and I really hope that it ends soon. And I feel very fortunate to be here and blessed to be here. And so getting a job at Microsoft was like a dream come true, not only for me, but for my parents and my grandparents. And my grandma, my late grandma, Baba Sofa, she used to walk and meet people and go up to like strangers and say, "This is my granddaughter Irina.
Oh, I love
She
that.
works at Microsoft." And you
That's
know,
so
my
sweet.
grandma's
Yeah.
no longer alive,
I'm so
but she
sorry.
really shaped who I am today. And you know, I've been working really hard at Microsoft to really make an impact,
Yeah.
to grow and to build products that impact customers worldwide. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my story.
That's
That's such a-
amazing.
that's
Wow,
such a
such a
sweet
powerful.
story.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
also like the way you shared it, Irina, the place you came from and how
Yeah.
you made it, the struggles and the challenges.
Yeah.
Because I think in today's world, when people look at social media and
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn or Instagram, they're just fooled by the fact that hey, everybody just got the overnight success. There's
That's
so
true.
many challenges that we
That you
have
go
to go
through.
through
Yeah.
as an immigrant. Like we
Yeah.
are immigrants, so we totally associate what you went through,
Yeah.
and that is just so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
a lot of people who are listening to this will get empowered and feel very
Motivated.
yeah, they'll be inspired that although it's the road is hard initially, but down
Yeah.
the road you will have success and everything's going to be better.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. This episode, a lot of people across the world will be listening
Yep.
to. So, and I know people are really passionate about technology, software development, and they are in different walks of life. Not everybody is privileged, not everybody has that powerful background. So, this episode is for everyone who's aspiring to be a software developer or is a software developer and doing better, because we have Irina, who is doing amazing as a software developer leader at Microsoft. So, over to you for the next
Yeah,
question.
so Irina just completed 20 years at Microsoft, which is a
Woo!
huge milestone, and that's awesome. And Irina, in that regard, what tips would you like to share with people who are just starting their journey in this field, and they would love to learn from you?
Yeah, and you know, my key lessons that I think about is like number one, take risks, challenge yourself, never get too comfortable.
Absolutely.
Learn and grow. And you know, it's whenever during my childhood and life I would hit a brick wall and I would feel really, really uncomfortable. That's when I would experience like tremendous growth.
Yeah.
And it's those moments. And so, you know, my number one, I have 3 tips. And the first tip is just don't get comfortable. Keep learning, keep growing, find opportunities, like reach for the stars. And if you work hard enough, you'll probably achieve it. And if you don't, you're going to fall flat on your face. But you're going to learn and grow. And so just keep moving, keep going. The second tip that I've learned throughout my time is the power of a network and the
Right.
people at Microsoft.
So
and
true. So
and
true.
for me, I've met so many amazing people during my career. And the people are the reason I come to work every day. I surround myself with people who are way smarter than me, and I go to them and learn from them every day. And so it's really about the people and cultivating those relationships, growing those relationships. The other thing that I learned is at Microsoft, you could probably reach out to anybody. It doesn't matter who the leader is, who their title is, and they will make the time to talk to you.
That's true.
To
Yeah.
be, you know, you could be like, can I pick your brain? You could write, like, at one point, I wrote a white paper and I sent it around, and leaders read it and they
Oh, wow.
responded. And so we sometimes have this imposter syndrome where we create barriers. Oh my God, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to ping them. They're
That is
not
so
going to want to
true.
talk to
That is so
me.
true. Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe I'm stupid. But like be boundaryless. That's just, I think, the second lesson that I learned. And the third lesson that I learned is being customer obsessed is so important.
Yeah.
And having customer empathy, understanding customers, talking to customers. Like, I grew up Microsoft as an engineer, and it's so important for every engineer to be able to relate, to be able to understand the business,
Absolutely.
to talk to customers, to engage in customer-driven forums, to look at data and discuss data, because everything that we build, the reason, ultimately Microsoft stays alive is to build great products for customers and for the
Absolutely.
business. And so really like taking the time, and I don't know if you saw, like right now I'm working on this really, really fun project. I have this create.microsoft.com, this site, and I created an Instagram account where I was totally making a fool of myself, like doing all these dancing videos. But my goal
We
was
love
to
those.
try to, okay, well, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. They're a bit embarrassing, but my goal was to try to like get myself in the customer's shoes
Yeah.
and understand what they're going through. And so that we can build the right products.
Absolutely.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are such powerful tips, right? I love
And I
them.
love the passion you were saying
Yeah.
them. Like, I could feel the energy, right?
Yeah,
Sitting
exactly.
here, like, customer centric, and you have to, learn and fail. I mean, those are some powerful pointers for everybody watching. Thank you so much, Irina.
Remember, folks, 3 tips. Network, never get too comfortable. And the last one is be customer obsessed, customer centric. These are 3 powerful tips that Irina shared. We love them.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So I think one question that Rishabh and we keep on getting, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any other platform, is like, what are the software engineering skills? I'm sure you have taken 100+ interviews. What are those software engineering skills that you look out for in a candidate? Or if somebody is trying to get into big tech, the FAANG or Microsoft, what skills should they have?
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. Like, for me, the top things, I look for leaders not for where they are today, but for what they can become in the future.
Wow.
I
Okay.
love that.
And that's very important for me. So I look at, ability to learn, grow, take risks, right? Establishing, like, demonstrating a growth mindset where it's okay to fail. You learn from your failures and you keep going, right? Being adaptive, being able to deal well with ambiguity, and being adaptive right now is very important in the current economic world, because we often have to switch focus and adapt
Absolutely.
very
That's
quickly.
true.
Yep.
And so, I don't know, the current interview process, in many ways screens great candidates out because they kind of require you to join this 1 hour meeting with each, interviewer.
Yeah.
And you're like nervous out of your mind,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And you're expected to do your best during that 1 hour, answering some technical question like, trees or B trees or linked lists or recursion. And I don't feel like that really tests a person's capability. And in fact, some of the best people I've hired totally bombed their interviews.
Oh.
But you know what they did? They responded to me after. Like a couple of hours later,
Yep.
Yeah.
I would get an email in my inbox with an answer to the programming question, with documentation, unit tests, clear design. And I would just be so impressed, that would show really great work ethic.
The passion.
Yeah.
The other thing I do is, and I try with my team, and I have this, one of the EMs on my team, Alexis, he does this really well. He practices screening in. When he does an interview, he wants the candidate to succeed. He looks at the candidate's expertise, their history,
Right.
and tailors his questions to the candidate's
Wow.
superpower. And I think this power of screening in is very important because we often screen out really diverse, amazing talent.
That's
So, so the tips that I would say is, if you're prepping for a technical interview, like, find out think about your superpowers, think about what you want to demonstrate, prep the competency questions, prep the technical questions, but if you don't quite get it right, like, that's okay. Do take time to follow up, because we're often looking for leaders who have that work ethic, have that growth mindset, and, who are not there to answer like a 1 hour question during pressure.
Exactly.
So those are my tips.
Yeah, no,
Those are amazing.
that completely resonates with me.
Yeah.
Like, because that one day can be your day or not your day. Like, everybody has a bad day, everybody has a good day, but judging just that person based on that 1 hour interview is just not fair, right?
That's
And then
right.
there is so much more to a person than just answering 3 or 4 questions based on lead code or based on whatever they do, right? So I love that fact that you said that follow up, show the growth mindset, and these are the
Yes.
principles that we have within Microsoft. And if you associate with them, you come out as a person who will fit right into the team, right?
Yeah.
I think Irina answered my question, how to clear those, or how to be better prepared for the interview, so you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think I loved your answer, because you were showing as a leader also, you're so empathetic to the person who's coming to interview for your team or the company, and Microsoft in general. You live and breathe Microsoft culture, Irina. So I think the next question that I would like to ask is, if you had to describe your leadership style, what would that be? Because I know in today's generation, the Gen Z and millennials, when they join a team or a company, they're looking for leaders that they can get inspired from, right? So if you had to describe your leadership style.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. Like, I see my job as a leader to ultimately like serve my team, right? To inspire them to do their best work, to push them to be the best that they can be.
Right.
And to unblock them, right? To create clarity, generate energy, and deliver results. And the other really big thing, so leading with empathy and leading with inspiration. The other really, really big thing about my leadership style is this growth mindset and the gift of feedback. And it's actually very hard to deliver critical feedback to a person.
That's true.
Very
Yeah.
hard. And sometimes, like, I care so much I can't sleep at night. I prep for these things. But feedback, critical, constructive feedback is the greatest gift you can give a person.
Absolutely.
Because it pushes them to grow. And, in the day right now, like, we absolutely have to deliver on our results, on our
Yeah.
promises, on our commitments,
Right.
on our dates. And so ensuring there's that right clarity, inspiration. The other thing that's very important to me is to make work really fun. Because, like, at the end of the day, we spend more time at work than with our friends, than with our family.
That's
and
true.
so, like, it's important to, like, really have fun. And although we work really hard on my team, we have a lot of fun, and I'm like, every day I'm laughing. Like, we recently had a pickle themed potluck.
I saw that on the Instagram.
Um,
Yes.
That's so fun.
So like, I think that's just really important to kind of, and then finally, I don't want to be that leader that people fear, that people are afraid to talk to. Like, I really want to have this ground roots culture where, I kind of say to everyone, like, if you have an idea, pitch it to me. It doesn't matter what your level is, what your title is, be a leader. You could truly be a leader, and like, we're in this together, so let's shape our products together. That's really important. And so I want to be really approachable. That is like so important to me, and down to earth, because I'm just like any other person you could meet at a coffee shop or
Absolutely.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And as I was growing up, I was intimidated by many leaders, and I don't want to be
Right.
that leader that people are afraid to talk to, or they're afraid to pitch their ideas, because sometimes the best ideas come through folks
Exactly.
who are like at the ground roots level.
That's so true.
Exactly.
I think you're going to get a lot of DMs after this episode, Irina. Everybody will want
Yeah.
to join her team and have that fun work-life balance.
Folks, we will share Irina's LinkedIn, Instagram handle in the comments below. So please
No.
go and follow her.
But true story. The first time I met Irina, that was one of the parties, Microsoft parties, right? Rishabh, I got in 2018. You
Right,
took me to
right,
one
right.
of the
Yeah.
parties as a +1.
It was an event,
And I
yeah.
saw her, I'm like, oh, this is the person I want to be. Like, I got so inspired with you, like, because you had that
Approachable.
approachable energy. You had that making everybody comfortable. I still remember you were going to everybody, talk to them, make them feel at home, which I think is so important for a leader, because you set that up, right? And then your team
100%.
follows you. So
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I think I have the first-hand experience of working with Irina, and I loved the fact that you were so approachable. Plus, you also foster leadership within your team. Like, you want to make sure that as you grow, you are creating the next level of leaders who can
Yeah,
come
That's
up and
very important.
replace you, or like help you grow even further, right? So I think I love that fact, and I've seen that firsthand, right?
Yeah.
And I always say that Irina wears both hats, engineering and PM hat. Like, I see her
Right.
doing both roles, engineering and PM, and that's amazing, because sometimes we see that us PMs get too involved in PM stuff, or the engineers get too involved in engineering stuff, and they don't see the whole field playing, right?
That's true.
And Irina brings that in her leadership, and that's really amazing. I love
Yeah.
that fact.
Yeah, and thank you. And I think like my job as a leader is to get myself out of my job, because then I will grow and coach the next generation of leaders who can accomplish amazing things, and then I'm no longer needed anymore, and I can take
Yeah.
on my next challenge.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's amazing outlook
Yeah.
towards
All right,
getting
on to our
things.
next question,
Okay.
Irina.
How do you inspire others to have that culture that you live and breathe for, or what message do you have for everyone as well as the leaders who are watching this episode?
Yeah, and having the right team culture is very important to me, and it was important from the start. And so what I have done on my team is, and it's very important that the team culture, the values, the principles, I don't come up with them myself. So what I did an exercise with key folks on my team, on my leadership team, and the overall team, is we came up with key cultural principles.
Ooh.
Where and we collaborated on them together.
Okay.
And
I
the
like that.
things that are in there are grassroots, accountability, growth mindset, contributing to the work of others. That's very important to me. We're one team, and the whole team needs to help each other and help each other grow, right? This notion of like delivery is very important, in being accountable, and the fact that I'm holding everybody on my team accountable, but they're also holding me accountable. And the notion of growth mindset, where it's like totally okay to fail. We can't be scared of failure, but you have to grow from that failure.
Yep.
And keep going. And so we have some other ones in there as well. And I have this in a slide deck. I repeat it over and over again. And then what we have in my team is we have retrospectives, where we take time, where people give feedback, and we take time and listen to feedback, and then adjust, because half of the time I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Right.
And I make many mistakes, and I have to learn from my mistakes. And so, if you're a leader and you're trying to establish a team culture and trying to change, make your culture better, just really take time to sit down and listen, to listen to your team, because your job as a leader is ultimately to serve your team,
Absolutely.
to accomplish amazing things together.
That's so
Absolutely.
true.
Sometimes we forget these little things, that you're supposed to listen, right? That's such a basic skill that you need to remind yourself, that you're supposed to listen to your team. Just
That's
treat them
true.
like your customers, right?
Yeah.
Right? Know your audience, and then how do you improve the culture from there? That's an easy task from there on, when you have the data from the team, that okay, this is what we like and this is what we hate. Please go ahead, right?
Right.
So next question, Irina. This is going to be a fun question. I'm sure you have many stories around this, but what's the most fun thing you think is working at Microsoft? Like, your favorite thing about Microsoft?
Oh my gosh, my favorite thing about Microsoft is people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've met so many amazing people during my time at Microsoft. And I've seen them grow and just achieve amazing things in their careers. And so I'd say that is the top thing. The second thing is delivering great products and experiences to our customers and really seeing the impact.
That's
like
true.
I remember, looking back, I was a senior engineer and I shipped this back-end service, right? And I was looking how many users I have, how many users I have, how many users I have. And it reached 40 million users.
Oh,
40
wow.
million?
40 million
Wow.
users.
My
And
God.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I could see this many users. I could, and I was like, wow, my work is impacting so many people
Millions, yeah.
worldwide.
Wow.
Millions of users worldwide, right? And that I think is like incredible, right? It's just the impact you can
It
have,
is.
the customer impact that you
So
you
powerful.
know that
Yeah.
you can have, and it's about the people and watching them grow. And I always say, like, I can go clean toilets, but if it's with it's an analogy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the best analogy, but no matter what the job is, if it's with a group of phenomenal people, we're gonna have so much fun doing it. We're gonna
Absolutely.
laugh and we're
Right.
gonna joke.
Absolutely.
And so ultimately I think it's really about the people.
Absolutely.
That's so amazing.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, initially when I started my career, I was very focused on, what project am I working on?
Yeah.
What's the product I'm working on? And I used to think I'm going to choose my next team or the team I'll be working on based on the product. But,
the
slowly
people.
I realized
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what product I'm working on. What matters is, am I happy in the team?
Right.
How's the leadership in the team? How are my peers? Are they treating me nicely? Is it fun to go to work? That is what motivates
That,
you
yeah.
to get up every morning and go to work versus, project that you're working on, maybe your dream project. But if the team is not that good, then at some point of time, you'll be like, no, I can't. I need to walk out.
That's so true. One of the product leaders at Microsoft told me once that you won't remember the products that you worked on, what you have shipped, but you will always remember how the people that you were working with made you feel. And that'll stick with
Yeah.
you. It's a sticky feeling that whenever you see that person again,
Yep.
you'll get that feeling how that person made you feel when you were working with them or you were interacting with them. So make sure,
Yeah.
even if you fail in delivering something, the people who are working with you, your
Yeah.
developers, your designers, your peers, should have an amazing
Yeah,
experience.
that
with
reminds
you.
me.
Really good
Sometimes,
point.
when I would like deliver a good presentation, Irina would leave a handwritten note on my desk
Oh,
that
I
you know,
love handwritten
thank you so much
notes.
for thank you.
Oh my gosh!
I remember
don't
this.
Even remember
I
that,
remember
but
this.
see,
So
it's the little things.
it's a little thing. So
yeah,
she would read a handwritten note. Thank you for providing value to the team.
Oh, that's
and
so
that just one
sweet.
sentence on a piece of paper shows that okay, she took her time and she
Thought about you.
thought about me,
Yeah.
and she helped me realize my value in the team, and then you feel more motivated
Driven.
to come
Yeah.
and work for the team.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
it's
this is
these-
a question that I really want to ask. I know we did not think about this question, but I think something while I'm talking to you, you are such an inspiring women in tech. I think the listeners out there want to know what has been your biggest challenge as a woman in tech, and what message do you have for all the females out there
Yeah.
who find it so challenging to take that first step? I know so many females who want to change their career path or enter technology, but they're so intimidated with the. Now I know it's changing. Now we are reaching that parity. It's still few years, but how can somebody enter this field and make their mark as big as and become a product leader like you?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, and I want to share a story which was a really hard story for me
Okay.
to overcome, but it made me really strong. I think the biggest thing is being true to yourself. Like, if you look at me, I love bright lipstick
Yeah.
and cute outfits, and you can't see my shoes, but I really love shoes that pop, right? And I'm very bubbly, I'm very energetic. I might not look like the typical developer. Well, I hope that I do look like the typical developer, because we need more women. We need more women in the computer science field
So true.
and in the industry in order to build the right products worldwide.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I remember several years ago, I was still super junior.
Yeah.
And I was partnered up with this very senior dev. He
Okay.
was doing development, SQL development. And I had ideas, and he didn't want to listen to any of my input. In fact,
Oh.
he said, Irina, I've been doing software development before you were born. So kind of like, get out of the way, right? And it was a very, very frustrating time for me because I had all these ideas and I was very passionate.
Yep.
And it was like get out of the way, right? And so I cried a lot, right? I stayed up at night a lot.
Okay.
And it motivated me to work even harder.
Right.
And I remember he was building this SQL backend using dynamic SQL, and I was like, I had some experience in this space, and I was like, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right. So, you know, I spent all weekend writing tests, and the favorite bug I logged was I imported, this was like an image software. I imported this image called Drop Table Project Media, and it dropped the table
Yeah.
in the database.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, right, it was just such a hard time for me, right? And I got some allies. I went and talked to the SQL team. I got tips, right? Like, I didn't just sit still. I didn't shut down. I was pushing. I had this brick wall, and I kept pushing through it. And you know what? I ended up getting his job.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was a
That's
principal
such a nice
job.
ending. Yeah.
And he left Microsoft, and I scaled this product to supporting 2 million images. And in Microsoft, we used to have this thing called the Gold Star Award. So I got the Gold Star Award for this. I got
Ooh, good
promoted
for
to senior.
you.
And I was really true to myself. And so, you know, like just in summary is be true to yourself and, you know, get that imposter syndrome out of your mind. Because in that situation, I could have been like, I'm not good enough. I'm a total failure. But in fact, I kept pushing. I kept talking to teams, and I kept working really, really hard. And it ended up being a very big success for the company and for me.
Right. No, that's an amazing message. I think I'm not like being gender specific here, but I feel like most of the women, they feel quite intimidated with the industry. Like when I also entered Microsoft, I used to sit in a room filled with just male developers. And sometimes it can be challenging to get your idea across to the table and tell them that, hey, you know what, I have this idea, especially when you're junior, you're entering an industry. So please go and follow Irina, and you know, you can DM her, you can DM us. If you have any questions, try to post the questions down in the comments below, because we would love to hear from you and help you in your journey in becoming, you know, the next, maybe the women in tech, and helping you grow in whatever field you're striving for.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll put Irina's LinkedIn, Instagram
Yes.
handle. Also, Irina has lovely Instagram reels. You should go
Oh
and
my
check
God,
them out.
so embarrassing.
No, I think it's fun, and you have a very powerful message in each one of them. So I think when you bring that human element, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's when people connect with you the most, right?
That's
Because, like
true.
you said, you know, if you are a leader who's like acting all tough and, you know, unapproachable, and then giving a message, maybe some people connect, maybe some don't. But you know, when you're playing with your dog, you're doing some dances, and then you have a powerful message, then people are like, yeah, she's like me, and I can be like her one day. I can be also an engineering leader at Microsoft, and they get inspired. That's what I feel. So the more authentic you are, the better you connect with, you know, your team or in general with anybody. So we love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Do you want to ask the last question?
Yeah, I can go. Lastly, I wanted to ask, especially in this economic time, what message do you have for the folks who have been laid off or are in a tough situation? And parallelly, if you can also shed some light on the skills that people should have when they're applying for a software engineer job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, my heart goes out to everyone who's lost their job. It's a really, really hard time, and
is.
in some cases, people have to go back to their home countries. Like, the situation is just terrible, and you know, anytime I see layoffs, it's just like I can't sleep at night because my heart goes out to the people. But the thing, like, if it's one thing that you learn from me and learn from my story, is in life, you are going to have brick walls, challenges put in front of you. And it's going to be really hard to break those brick walls down, and you're going to be like, and kicking, right?
Yeah.
But like, those brick walls will make you stronger. And so if you're sitting there, you've been laid off, it's just terrible. Like, stay positive. Keep learning. Like, you'll end up in a better place. It's going to take some time. My grandmother used to say, everything is for the best, and it is for the best. And so, like, it's a really great time to learn new skills, right? Go start a startup. Go like open up an OpenAI account and see what you can do with Dolly and ChatGPT, and like go experiment, go learn, go grow, take care of yourself, do things that make you happy, whatever it is, you know, shopping, going to the gym, travel, right? Like, you know, different types of situations depending on your situation, what you can go do. Go start walking, go start a new hobby, do things that make you happy, and like just really stay positive. You know, there's this interesting thing is like, when there isn't a door, paint one. Paint that door.
I love that.
Paint that door for yourself. And you know, like, if you're looking for a new job, don't just apply and wait for a response. Go ping leaders on LinkedIn. Like, I'm always so impressed when, you know, people ping me. Go try meet people in person, right? Like, go try to get noticed. Start a podcast. Do talks. Start a teaching channel about a specific tech, right? It's a bit of a reset for you, but that reset could be good because it may help you find your passions. It will make you stronger. It'll make you more anti-fragile. So just stay positive, and don't give up, because something there is in the future that is so much better for you. And like, you're going to look back at this time and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is the best thing that happened to me back then. Man, was it hard. Man, it sucked.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I had
Agreed.
to like provide for my family and find, you know, different ways, but it's like a blessing in disguise. And so I hope just the power of positivity. And the last thing that I want to say is this power of envisioning yourself in wherever you want to go. Think about it. What is your next job? Where do you want to be? And envision it. Think about yourself in that job, right? And then think about, okay, what is the best way? How am I going to get paint my door to get there?
Right.
Which folks from my network do I know that I can go and pick? You know, and actually, surprisingly enough, if you could reach to your network, people will help you. People will do mock interviews for you. They'll connect you up because usually, you know, people are kind and they want to help, right?
Yeah.
And so envision it, figure out, and like, if you push forward and you tried it one way,
Right.
try again.
Exactly.
The biggest, I think, failure is giving up.
That's true.
Yeah, I
That's
think
true.
Yeah.
I loved your last point, power of manifestation. You have to you manifest where you want to be, and once you know your vision, you will find a way to reach there. And you know, whether it's through networking, through reaching out to people. And I agreed with you that the only worst outcome that can come out of this is when you give
fail.
up.
Yeah, that's true.
Giving up is one thing that you should not do, like, you know, because there will be some path you will find if you don't give up, basically.
Right. No, absolutely. I loved all the pointers, like working on your skills, working on yourself, taking out time, because I feel when you're stuck in this muddle of situation, sometimes you become so depressed, it's all negativity around, you can't see through, but that 30-minute walk, you know, with your family, with your dog,
Clear your mind.
can just clear your mind. I mean, it has happened with all of us. We're humans, right? We get, you know, our brains are fogged and we're like, okay, we are not stuck in this situation. And then networking, something that you said in the start of the podcast and even at the end, I feel any country today, every person is made up of who you know, right?
Yes.
So if you know someone on LinkedIn, reach out to them. Maybe they can help you. Maybe their team is looking out for someone.
Absolutely.
And then the power of manifestation. I think all the people who have immigrated to United States, we all know how much we envisioned being here, how much we envisioned Microsoft, all three of us. So I think really powerful points. I loved it.
All right.
Yes.
We are at the end of our show. Irina, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure so many people out there listening to you will learn so much from you.
Right.
All the leaders, all the aspiring engineers, and you know, everybody. It's so much rich data that you provided today.
Yeah, I would totally second that. Thank you, Irina, for saying yes and coming to our podcast. If you like this episode, please subscribe below. Also, comment below if you have any questions for Irina or both of them, both of us, and we would love to comment. And we will tag all our social handles below. So over to you, Irina. Any last
Last words.
comments?
I just, the last thing I want to leave you with, and of course, like, apply your own filter on everything that I said, because I've shared what worked for me, but what works for you
That's
could
true.
be different. But just the power of a positive mindset, the power of positivity. If you believe in something and, believe in yourself, like, think positive, envision, like, you can move mountains.
Yeah.
The sky is the limit. All you have to do is just believe. And so thank you so much for having me here today. This was so much fun. I really, really appreciate.
Yeah.
And just thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody who's
Thank
watching.
you.